welcome into another episode of Restaurant Hoppen. I'm your host, Dan Hoppen, and I have long been a fan of the three gentlemen that are sitting next to me tonight from their previous restaurants and exploits. So when I heard that they were teaming up for a restaurant, I was excited. And then I heard it was a pizza joint, which is my favorite food. Doubly excited. And I was over the moon. I waited, and I waited, and I waited. And it was about a year from you guys' first social media posts until you finally opened to the public. And you know what? It was worth every second of the wait, because this pizza is something special. We are going to get into it tonight. Please help me welcome the chefs and owners. We have Tim Maides, Carlos Mendez, and Roberto Garcia.
What's up?
Okay, so since we have three different voices tonight, I would love for each of you to just introduce yourselves real quick and maybe give us 2 or 3 sentences on what excites you most about this concept and what you've seen in these first couple weeks of business. Start with you, Tim.
I'm Tim Maides. I think pizza was just the way to bring everyone together, and so we're very excited to see what comes next.
Carlos Mendez. Everything started pretty in an interesting way. It was to create community. We love the area where we are, and I think that pizza is community.
My name is Roberto Garcia, and I'm very excited just to work with these two gentlemen. Like, they are like institution, I guess. This guy has been in the restaurant business for a long time, and I work with Tim's brother, so they are like a family. So yeah, it's really cool to work with people that you know, and once you wanna like work through the same goal, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, you guys are like 6 degrees of Omaha restaurant royalty. Like, if there's somebody in the city who hasn't interacted with you in some way, shape, or form, it feels like impossible. But anyway, you mentioned the area, and you're so excited to be a part of this area. We should tell the people where it is. This is Dolomiti's, located inside Millwork Commons, which is a new-ish development right across from the baseball stadium downtown. It's starting to blow up. They got Coneflower down there, Cross Strain, Archetype Coffee, Sweet Magnolias. I mean, yeah, you can do some pretty good stuff down there. So obviously, there are so many different types of pizzas in Omaha, so many different pizza joints. How would you describe Dolomiti to somebody who's visiting for the first time?
This one's on me, huh?
Yeah, that's on you.
I mean, initially the thought was my brother and I both worked in northern Italy, and that's where the name Dolomiti comes from. It's named after the Dolomite mountain range that separates Austria from northern Italy. And when we worked in this hotel, you would go to these little taverns, basically, and they would just they all had their own version of this pizza that wasn't really Neapolitan. It wasn't really New York. It was just good pizza. And that's something I feel like is harder to find than you'd think, because, you know, in the States at least, everyone's like, oh, like, what style are you doing? What are you doing? What's this? What's that? And it's just like, I don't know. We just wanted to make good pizza and like also, you know, come in, have some wine and hang out. So initially we started the idea with my brother, but he's too busy for us. So Carlos and I just kept going, and we kind of stuck with that initial idea, though. We really wanted a northern Italian influence, since most of the Italian food in Omaha is southern Italian influenced. And so we're like, yeah, let's just kind of do our own thing and mix it up a little bit.
What's the difference between those North and South Italian?
For us, like, it's a lot more Germanic influence. I was born in Switzerland, so that was a big thing for us. So it used to be part of Austria before World War II. So like when we worked up there, they spoke German up there. They didn't even speak Italian. It's that far north. And it's just a lot more heartier grains. Like, their pastas are not as light. It's just definitely more alpine kind of mountain food, and
a little more butter.
And a little more butter.
Lots of butter.
A little more butter than
olive oil.
And yeah, I mean, that's Roberto knows. He's worked with my brother for many years over the years, so he knows exactly kind of just to differentiate a little bit, because there's so much good pizza in Omaha. We wanted to do ours just a little different.
And just in case anyone isn't aware, we've made several references to Tim's brother. That would be Ben Maides, who's the executive chef at Au Courant, which Carlos owns. And he's also, is he the culinary director of Flagship Restaurant Group? Yeah. Okay.
That's a nice way to put it, yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about this pizza, because it is very unique. And there are different terms that could maybe be used for it. I've heard someone call it Neapolitan. I guess I'll let you guys define what it is. But I remember the first time I bit it, it was just like you described, him. It was kind of like confusing to me, because it's like chewy, and it's got like that good elasticity like a Neapolitan does, but it's got that firm and it's got a little crispy like crunch on it like a New York would. And I remember, Carlos, first time I came in, we were over by the oven and a pizza had just come out, and you had the chef pick up the pizza and he was just holding both sides of it, and there was no sag in the middle. It was completely firm all the way through. Like, how do you describe this style of pizza? When somebody's coming up to you guys and they're like, hey, what type of pizza do you got down there at Dolomiti? How do you describe this?
Neapolitan look with, the Neapolitan look with a kind of New York style. That's kind of basically right in the middle. That's what we wanted to do, and hopefully we accomplished what we were looking for a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I tell everyone we got greedy. Like, we wanted the best of both. Like, I love New York style pizza for what it is, and we love Neapolitan style for what it is. But my girlfriend Ev and I, we went to, we ate at all the oldest pizzerias in Naples, and it just wasn't my favorite version of pizza. I understand that's where it came from. So it's nice to see where it's gone since then. And like I said, so we just combined everything we liked about the different styles and just formulated our own. And like you said, that's hopefully what we accomplished, just by our ingredients and our processes, and even the oven that we use. It really sets it apart, I think.
That's an important part of the process, is the oven.
Well, we're going to get into that oven. But first, I want to understand the science behind the dough. How do you,
Lots of percentages and ratios.
No,
but this is his baby now.
Tell me about it, Roberto. Tell me about the dough.
Well, first of all, I didn't know what I was going to when I started to work with pizza. It's a whole different game. But I started to kind of like a research and understand. The first thing Tim did to me was like hand me these 2 books that I absolutely love now, and I just read it. And the dough is the start of the show. I read and I know that a lot of Neapolitan people uses the double O, which is like high gluten.
For the flour, yes.
Yeah, for the flour. And then flour high gluten is pretty much because the colder temperatures in America is grown here and then send it back there and then they send it back. And I was like, wait, well, we got to do that, Then I started to try it, and it's like chewy but without a crispy, And then when you rewarm it, it's like really gummy.
It's tough, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, like what's that for, right? So then we start to experiment with different flours. I found this one that I love, and it's been working well since. Also, Tim has the base of the original recipe for the dough, and something that I really like is the semolina that he has. Also, the first pop-up that I helped him, he was like, oh, I put semolina in this one. and I reading about the northern Italian cuisine, that is one of the main things, the semolina, the grain. So it's like, okay, we're going to keep it. And I think the difference is like the sourdough 2-day fermentations that make it so edible. You can eat probably a couple pies and still feel like you are not super heavy. Mm-hmm. And it's not high protein, it's not double O, it's not like the regular that everybody uses Caputo. It's just, we're not following rules in the Neapolitan.
There are no rules at Dolomiti.
Yeah, so I think that's it.
So why sourdough pizza? I feel like I'm starting to see that pop up more and more, not just in Omaha, but really throughout the country. Is sourdough pizza kind of having a moment here?
Yeah, I think it even launched off more, during COVID. That's when everyone started baking at their house and everyone got obsessed with sourdough, which is just, as most things do, they just go back to where you come from. So before commercial yeast was a thing, which is relatively new in the grand scheme of bread and, human existence, it's like sourdough was it. It's just a natural fermentation. Same with wine. Now you got natural wines coming back, all this stuff. And what people are realizing is that they've just been eating this like very sterile, sanitary food. And now you've got so many sensitivities, so many allergens, all this stuff. And the beauty of sourdough is along with the 2-day ferment that like it's already pre-digested literally on like a microscopic level. The sourdough starter is just, it's been fermenting already, and then it starts chewing on that gluten for you, and it just kind of breaks it down. So by the time you eat it, like you said, you can even crush one of those whole pies, and you're good to go.
Go for a run after, yeah.
You feel light, and that's, to me, that was the European style, and that's what our buddy Pasquale, who sold us the oven, who is as true Italian as they come, and he's from Naples, and he even said and we never forgot it. I mean, the one thing he just said.
First thing he said.
He just goes, "The dough must be digestible," and we kind of laughed because I was like, "No American has ever said that about pizza." That's like the last thing they worry about. But he goes, "The dough must be digestible."
And that is stuck in our minds, and we're gonna work
That's
to be able to make that happen. So yeah.
How long was the R&D process until you felt like, yes, we got the exact texture, consistency, everything that we're looking for?
The day before we opened the restaurant, probably.
I mean, these guys work probably years before me. I just jump at the end of the.
That's the way to do it, though. Yeah, you just ride off somebody's coattails, let them do most of the work, and then finish it.
Well, the hard work is definitely now. Yeah. But the dough recipe, I started working on it over a year ago. Like, I've always liked baking, but the dough as we have it is about a year old. But even, like you said, even the semolina, I tried it once, and I really enjoyed it. And I was experimenting with ratios, and then we just kind of like dialed it in more, and then that's what we enjoyed. And for people who don't know, the semolina is what they use to make pasta. So white pasta is yellow. And it just gives it that nice color and this aroma that we just love, and also gives it this crispy crackerness that we really enjoyed.
Yeah. But
sorry, go ahead.
No, I say I just moved back from Oregon to Omaha, and yeah, they asked me if you want to be part of. So I don't know much about the previous work that they done, but I know it's a lot.
It's all the boring stuff.
Yeah. You were the one
that's Carlos's department.
but yeah, I came back and you know, the fermentation, and then start to take things out of the dough recipe, add more things and stuff like that, and just dough it's a different animal. It's like every single time is some challenge with the dough for sure.
Yeah, tell me about that, because we've had other pizza makers on the show, and they talk about how it just changes wildly just based off the weather, based off humidity, whether it's 110 degrees outside, or like a couple weeks ago it's negative 20, or all these different things. How do you account for that in the restaurant?
You don't. you just do the chef thing. I think like being a chef is like 75% like a problem solved. The other 30 is like cooking, and every challenge is you just like gotta give a solution, a problem. So it really though is so sensitive that even like if I'm boiling the same dough, he's doing it. If he work it too much, that semolina and gluten is activated and it gets super tense. So next day one will be like really perfect, the other one will be like stress so it's just like everything matters, humidity, climate, everything.
It's such a science.
We find out like when we have the oven, it's like a huge vent on the restaurant, and then like as soon as I open the lid of the dough, that vent will like blow straight to the dough, and it will make like this cross or like what's going on.
Yeah, it's like things you could never plan for ever. Yeah, like there was a weird vent blowing right at where we work with the dough. And right away we're like, well, we can't have that air blowing on our dough. It dries it out immediately.
I just like, what is going on?
And then it's just like
they didn't know. And pizzas were taking twice longer to be able to stretch them. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of challenges that it comes with.
And that's just construction, and they don't, they're like, well, we didn't know where this vent needs to go. That's where it is, and it just happened. That's right in the path of our dough, so we had to climb up on a ladder and try to adjust things as much as we could.
No, it's crazy.
It's about improvising a lot of times.
That's what you're saying. I mean, cooking is literally something goes wrong all the time, and you just roll with it. That's the only way. You got to be like water, otherwise you won't make it.
Okay, so let's talk about this oven. It is a Marana Forni wood-fired oven that you had shipped in from Italy, had to go down to Miami to pick it up. And I actually found a quote from you, Tim, that I thought was really interesting. You said, "We are going domestic as locally as possible for everything we can, except the oven. That was never a question. We needed this exact oven, and they're only made in Italy." So what made this the oven that you had to have? Like, what are the characteristics of it that make it so special?
This is what my brother and I disagreed on with Carlos all the time.
Because it goes against the rules.
Because, again, he's very traditional and follows the rules. We are not that way. But for us, I mean, the oven is everything. I mean, it is, it is, as the dough is everything for your food, the oven is everything for your kitchen. And, like, we had to go to Miami because we had to pick out this oven.
We need to go and check it out.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
Yes, it was. I mean, at the end of the trip, I told God, I was like, I can't eat any more food, and he he actually put me to work. Ask Palm, she had enough of it. But yeah, I mean, the oven was everything, and mostly just because, again, we got greedy. Like, we wanted the consistency of gas, but we wanted the aspect of wood fire. So this oven allowed us to do both. Also, being relatively new to the pizza game overall, this oven has a rotating deck inside, which just helps maintain consistency, and it basically eliminates one person's job who has to baby the pies. So if you see a Neapolitan oven, there's always a guy, and literally his job, the pizzolio, just to work each pizza. And this gives us just a little more time in between pies that you could build it and launch it, and you don't have to babysit it because it's rotating for you. So that was very important for us. The deck of the oven has like a million little golf ball like dents in it, yeah, and so it like allows the dough to be super crispy. Again, another thing that was important for us, and like how it travels after the fact, how it holds up when you take it to go, and that oven just kind of hit everything we wanted. And yeah,
well, it has a pilot also on the bottom, but when it rotates, it keeps the bottom hot, so it helps me also to kind of make the crust.
And it's really cool looking too.
It is pretty cool.
Yeah, we rolled the dice on that color. That's what Pasquale, the Italian guy, we asked him, we're like, have you ever seen one like this? And he just goes, no. We're like, do you like it? And he just goes, no. It's the most interesting. And we knew that he hated it. It wasn't red. It had nothing to do with Ferrari.
Everybody wants a Ferrari red. That was his answer. It's like everybody in the country, everybody who orders the same one, it is Ferrari red.
Yeah, and I don't know who has one quite like it around anyway. It is truly unique.
I haven't seen a rotating one like that.
I think Kansas City has one at the same brand. And I think Hy-Vee and Out West has one too.
I don't think it's that brand.
It's not the same brand, but it rotates.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But it's so many benefits with it's just more
consistent.
It's consistent. Actually, it's more efficient, because you can put 8, 9 pies and every single one cook at the same time, the same way. And
so in 2 minutes and 15 seconds, you're having 9 pies done.
And I mean, with a wood-fired oven, it can take years to learn how to master those things, to learn how to move pizzas around, to know where your oven's hot spots are, to, lift it off the deck at times and, get that char. So I think it makes sense if you can find one that produces a great product while limiting that amount of training time that you have to go through, makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, we are many things, but we're not Italian, so.
Yeah. Yep. Also, the most difficult part about working with wood, like a wood fire, is like to maintain the heat, and you got to like all the difference between where the wood was before, and sometimes light up really quick, sometimes doesn't. So yeah, it's pretty complicated to work with wood fire for sure.
How long did it take before you guys felt comfortable with this oven?
We're still working on it.
Not there yet. TBD.
Yeah, we're learning something.
Roberto's specialty is like wood fire, so he speaks the language. Like, that is his world, and he crushes it. And you just get used to each oven. But like you said, everything, there's so many variables that we thought initially, if we can even dial a couple of those back to give us a break, we will take it for sure.
Okay. So Tim and Carlos, you guys attended the 40th annual International Pizza Expo in Las Vegas in March. Mm-hmm. Our boys Brett Geiger from Izzy's Pizza Bus down there, he was there as well. We were kind of talking about this off the mics and just what a spectacle it was and how much you learned. What were some of the key takeaways that you think you were able to use to influence Dolomiti?
Educational. We never thought. In my case, it blew my mind to see the dimension and how many people were coming, how the community worked, how interesting it was to differentiate American Italians and Italians. That was a kind of pretty interesting kind of contrast. But it was fun. It was a lot of learning. They teach me classes in the morning. You attend to whichever you want to go, and then at night, in the afternoon, you go and get a break. You eat, and then you start talking with all reps, and you eat a lot. And
I can imagine.
It's a lot of reps, and you have the opportunity to kind of get samples and products from multiple people and try all the doughs and all the flours, and it's very interesting. Equipment, for me, the most important part was education.
Yeah,
So,
we
yeah.
felt like we were going to school. Like we were joking about it. We were in Vegas. We were waking up. We set alarms. We had like a backpack, and we had our notes. Like we were ready to learn, and it truly did. I mean, we learned so much.
We got
It
there
was
by
crazy.
7:30 in the morning and left by 4:30, but tired. And then we walked the whole city back, probably.
Yeah.
Back to the hotel, eat something, go to sleep, wake up early the next day. It was like no the normal or the typical Vegas trip.
No hangovers.
Okay, one last menu item that I got to ask you guys about before we get into the backstory, because I think you guys have become very well known for pizza. There's no question about that. But your sandwiches are slept on. As much as I love your pizza, the sandwiches are maybe as good, and that's because you just take pizza dough and fold it over and stuff a bunch of awesome stuff inside it, and that's the sandwich.
It's a beautiful
It
thing.
sounds wild, but it's really, really good. Who came up with that idea?
Oh, that was part of the Miami trip.
Yeah. I almost cried trying one of those paninos in a pizzeria we went. I tried and it was a moment. It was like, oh my God.
I mean, and
Tears
it's
coming
mortadella.
out. So like, okay, this is like a ooh moment. That was exactly what it was. And
I mean, that's
you know,
basically how I felt when I was eating it the first time. I was just like,
Here we go.
what the heck?
And yet,
So
poor
we did it.
Roberto, he didn't get to go to Miami with us, and we're like, "Hey, we had this amazing sandwich. Now you figure it out. Like, all right, you do it now."
I think that sandwich is kind of like a trend right now everywhere, you know.
Yeah.
And it has his special name. I just like, to be honest, I just research translation of sandwich to, you know, English to Italian and say panino. Like, all right, we're gonna call it panino, but it has actually another name, and a lot of people is doing it. And you know, who doesn't like a fried egg and ham and aioli? You know, like, and so you just. Yeah, so it's like a ham neck sandwich, but with prosciutto, which is fancier, and with a light bread. I don't know. It's something that I think I told you when you went there. Is like, I'm not really happy with sandwiches. Sometimes they are delicious, but you bite to it, and it's like everything comes out, and like have all these things in your hands, and like have like 1,000 napkins, and that one is just so easy to eat. I don't know. It's like a mix between pizza, taco, and a sandwich. I don't know. It's like
There we go.
all at
And if
once,
you don't think
know?
that sounds good, then you
like-
can just leave.
No, it's yeah. So it was great, and yeah, we just figured out things to do, and there's so many more ideas to do with that. But right now, we just wanted it some kind of like a consistency, get used to the place, the oven, and more ideas are coming soon. Yeah.
I want to touch on that, but I want to hit on, like, again, just the lightness and the airiness of the dough, because it's a monster, like, of a sandwich. Like, you can hold it in both hands pretty easily, but you eat it and you feel good, because it's not just this big gut bomb. It feels very light and everything. Now, what you just said, I want to hit on a little bit more closely, in that when you open a restaurant, I'm sure that you guys as chefs, especially ones who have worked in so many different places, so many different cuisines, you've just got ideas popping off. I'm sure you could have a menu of 40 pizzas easily, and 10 sandwiches, and all kinds of different appetizers and stuff. But especially when you're working with new equipment, you're in a new space, you've got a new team and everything, you don't want to expand too fast. How did you hone in the menu and say, these are our, I think it's 7 or 8 pizzas, we got 2 sandwiches, we got a couple apps. How do you, like, distill all this knowledge and all this excitement you have down into the menu that you have right now?
I mean,
Well,
space is a big one. Like,
storage
yeah,
is a big part of it too.
You only have so much room to do so much. And
seasons.
And you
too.
kind of rather open a restaurant serving something consistent, good food. I mean, from the beginning, you always have time to explore and try a new dish or start developing things. But in the beginning, at least for us, it's important that every single dish that we put on the table has been taken care of. I mean, we have put the effort to kind of serve it the best way possible, even though sometimes it's challenging. We opened the restaurant. I explained how this restaurant happened based on, imagine that you're jumping on a treadmill that is going all the way. We were ready to sell 40 pies in a good day, and we hit one day 240 in a day. So it's been a learning
It's a quick
curve
learning
for
curve.
us, which having a small menu was very, very helpful.
So
We still have a bunch of ideas and things that we definitely would do. We'll do it slowly.
for me, I don't believe much on big menus, because I feel like if you try, there is a saying in Mexico. I'd say if you're trying to hold too much, you don't hold it tight. So I never, when I see like big menus, I'm like, no. You know, like how long it's been there, like how many times they produce. I don't know. I just like consistency and trying to like the little I have, trying to make it right. And it's part of the menu, how it's designed. It was because I've never worked with pizza. I've been working pizza probably 4 months or 5 months. And I'm glad that when I came back from Oregon, I called Kane because he's a good friend of mine. I help him with his like dinners. Like you have like some time for me or whatever. Like I know I don't have hours, but my brother is opening a pizzeria. So shout out to Moods because he has a good pizza in town, one of the best pizzas. And I learned the basic from him, and things that he will tell me now like make sense a lot. Like, oh, okay, I got it. And this guy has been like working with pizzas.
Yeah,
for
Colin's
3 years.
been crushing it for years.
But,
yeah.
but what I'm see the difference between pizza guys and chefs, like pizza guys follow rules and they want all like right straight up whatever. And for me as a chef, starting first like with different ideas, different tastes or whatever, season everything. I don't know. It's just like different. I just mix it together and that's how the menu came, and also the season, like beets is in the menu because it's like winter.
Those beets, yes.
And like, I mean, the roasted parsnip gelato, I work in Oregon and I have this coaster with that thing and it always smells like caramel to me. It's like, I just want to see, good. Like, I just want to do like sea salt caramel with this. And I have an idea, even though when I was in Oregon, like we do roasted parsnip ice cream, and that's the caramel, and then we put a little bit of caviar, and that's the salt. And I was like, that would be great for New Year's Eve or something,
Whoa!
But yeah, so just season, and I guess the experience I have with all the great chefs in Omaha, just kind of like, I know what people like, Brussels sprouts, romesco sauce, all that stuff. You just put it together, and it just shows,
Okay, let's get into the origin story here. You said that this idea kind of originated on a trip that you and Ben took, but then Ben got too busy. How did you get roped into this, Carlos?
No, I was from the beginning.
You were from the beginning.
It was Ben and me, and then we brought him, and then Ben walked. So that's kind of pretty much what happened.
Okay, so...
Yeah, so I was dragged in,
Yeah, he was dragged in.
So for people who don't know, Carlos, this is not his first foray into restaurant ownership. He owns Au Courant, which is one of Omaha's best, if not the best, fine dining restaurant. Previously have had España, which was a tapas restaurant, the Hunger Block, which was Latin American food, and also just recently opened Rotisserie Urban Bistro, which is a rotisserie chicken place, very casual, very awesome. Go check that out in Exarban too. But so you've got a wide restaurant profile here. What about pizza attracted you? What made you say this is a good idea? I want to chase this one.
We all love pizza. It's that simple.
It brings
Everybody
people
loves
together.
pizza.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It brings people together, and people appreciate it. People love it. People are passionate about it, and that's kind of.
Yeah,
and
more than we thought.
Pizza equals, community. If you check, that's why there's so many pizzerias in this town. Everybody loves it. Everybody comes, and they are attached to a specific location and a specific pizzeria where they go and eat, and they bring their family, and that's kind of what we believe in. So that's why we say, pizza is the perfect, kind of ingredient that area needs. Besides, all the amazing places that there are in Millworks. So.
New neighborhood. And also this was, at least when you guys checked out the space, this was also right when COVID was.
That was
super, yeah.
Yeah, we started pre-pandemic.
Yeah, so it was also like, well, hey, we need something that can be easily taken out. And
in the beginning,
I can't think of a better food that is more taken out than pizza.
In the beginning, the space was offered more to open an Au Courant. And we're like, I know this is too many, 56,000 square feet. Now, this is too much. Au Courant is a really tough restaurant to run, per se. So we're like, no, I think that there is another opportunities, another type of restaurant that we can kind of focus on and kind of bring on. And that's kind of how we started thinking about pizza.
Yeah, and then they split it so then Coneflower got half and then we got the other half, and that's what made it.
Oh my
much
gosh,
more
that was
manageable.
all one area.
That was one restaurant,
including Clean Slate too.
Yes.
So it was everything. It was like 8,000 square feet.
Yeah, too much.
No.
How'd you get roped into this, Roberto?
He biked up on me.
So, how I say, I was working in Oregon. One day I just came back and I decided to go to a ride bike, and Tim was there.
Right here, dude. OMG.
Yeah, and we started to hang out, and he asked me if I wanted to help him with a pop-up that he has inside the one, right? Was a brewery.
Yeah.
And then we went there, and that was it. That was they didn't even know I was supposed to start to help Moods, and they're like, "Hey, you just got a text. Would you like to be the chef of the place?" I'm like, oh, well, and it's like, I never worked with pizza, but I like challenge. So it's like, yeah, let's go.
Well, he had multiple offers.
Yeah.
Like, if a chef comes back to town, people are going to try to track him down. So I was actually like waiting. I was like, no, he's got too much other stuff going on. But then, that one day I was just like, I don't know, maybe it's meant to be. So
when we sat down and talked to him, we were like, he picked us. So he got really good offers, on the table, and he decided to gonna move on with us, and we couldn't be more excited.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really hard decision actually, because Mood's family is like really awesome family. I love them; they're family to me. And then these guys that I know for years too. Like, I don't want to hurt nobody, But at the end, it's like I could be just helping, topping pizza, so I can do my own ideas, So I was like, I hope they understand, and they totally did. They're awesome, and I was like, I want to try to do some ideas here and start to get down the rabbit hole of pizza and all that. It's crazy, seriously. It's super crazy, and everybody have their favorites. Everybody have their styles, and it's like, I just don't want to be there, but I'm just going to do our own thing, And they told me what they kind of want, and we don't want to be like too crazy fancy, but we don't want to be too comfort food. You just kind of right in the middle where everybody likes. And they invite me, and that's it. I say, yeah, let's go.
So while we're here, I want to give a shout out to Moots, because we made several references to them, just in case somebody hasn't been to Moots, doesn't know what we're talking about. It's a pizza place in Countryside Village run by the Atkinson family. Very, very delicious pizza. Awesome people. After you've gone to Dolomiti and had great pizza there, go over to Moots and say hi to them, because they're amazing too. Yeah. We can support everybody.
Yep.
So I made reference to this, but first social media posts were December of 2022. And you guys opened without any fanfare, which I'm going to get to and get on you about, in December of 2023. And I think the original plan was to open summer or something along those lines.
That's what the article said.
Yeah, the goal was before College World Series.
Before the College World Series. Yeah. So, there are always setbacks in restaurant build-outs. Can you maybe highlight 2 or 3 things that just, obviously the payoff has been worth it, but what were some of the frustrating pain points that you guys had to push through?
To be fair, the biggest one wasn't us. It's a historical building, and each tenant that moves in the space has to undergo this arduous historical approval. And we thought, being one of the last tenants, they would have this operation streamlined. And they said, oh yeah, just a couple months tops. And then it literally took 6 months.
6 months.
So
besides that one, financing too. You got to be realistic. You go to any bank and you ask for money, it's not that easy to gonna get. Restaurants usually are financed by the owners. That's kind of basically what happens. So to find somebody, even though we have experience in the industry, we've been for, probably myself, I've been for 18 years, 19 years. Team has been the same. Still, sometimes it's kind of hard to convince a bank to kind of give you money. That's kind of the reality. So that put us a little bit on hold. We were we signed, we got the lease signed already. And we were, okay, well, what's the next step? Because, one bank said no. Okay, let's go to the next one. Who is available? Who really believe in us? Who's going to kind of provide the money? And that was a big challenge, in the process as well, besides the historical part. So that kind of delayed the project a little bit longer too.
I think the hood too, right? Just the
tractor
to
hood
go all
at
over
the end.
6.
We were getting chills every time I got a phone call at 7 a.m, I was shaking. It's like, oh Lord, what's happening now? And that was probably the last 3 months before we opened the restaurant. Get the permits to be able to fire the oven, to be able to do that dual gas and wood. It was a big challenge too. So multiple things. When people believe or people think that people don't know, the majority of the people don't know what is the reality behind restaurants, and it's a lot more work and sacrifice than people really think. We do what we do because we're passionate, because we love definitely to serve people. We want people to be happy and share and eat and that's kind of the dream. I always focus on when I'm thinking about to open a restaurant or when I have an idea is to how people are going to feel when we serve the food. I picture people having a great time I visualize it. It's they're having a great time, and that's kind of what motivates me to move forward, to continue working on. Not an easy industry for sure.
Carlos, you are a wild man because we're talking about you.
Yes.
You own Au Courant, which is pretty well established. That's been in Benson since 2016 or something.
8 years now.
Yeah.
Jeez, yeah.
But then you're working on opening Dolomiti, and you open Rotisserie Urban Bistro what was that? I think I have it in November. So you've essentially opening 2 restaurants at one time that are wildly different in terms of cuisine, in terms of service style, area of town, everything.
Not normal. He's not normal. That's not.
What was this period of life like for you? How did you do this?
I am the problem. I always said, I feel bad for my wife out there. Yeah, she's my rock. Yeah, it's just wanted to open a place and believe in the concept and eating food that excites me, and that's what I want to bring to the tables and have people to enjoy it. That's it. It's a pretty simple feeling. It's just to want to feed people and make people happy. That's it.
Yeah, and the team is everything. Anything any of us does is only because we have each other. I cannot imagine doing any of that stuff. It's the amount of experience and knowledge that both of them have is insane. So it's just we have the best resources here already.
And you got the charisma and the face of this guy. That's why the face of the restaurant. I'm an old geezer.
He's got
now.
the mustache.
I'm an old
Come
geezer
on.
now. So, he's the boy. This is the other boy with the mustache. I just stay in the back. It's fine. I will go and kind of do I need to do dishes? I will do dishes. It's okay.
Yeah,
we all do that.
He jumped on the line the other day. He just walked in. We both made eye contact, and everything was full. And I didn't say a word. And next thing, he was cooking on the range. And he just knew. He was like, well, this is where I need to be right now. And we got it done.
Yeah. Got it done.
So many people, I think, when a new restaurant opens, the focus is immediately on the food, and that's to be expected. But I think so much of a restaurant experience it starts the moment that you enter. And there's the design of the space. There's a personality that each space has where you come in and you should get a sense of, here's what I'm going to be experiencing over the next 30 minutes, hour and a half, whatever it might be. As you're crafting the pizza, you're crafting the menu and everything. How did you imagine the space? How did the space come together to create the personality that you were looking for in the restaurant?
That's what brought us there.
The reason why we're there is because it's a 160-year-old building. There's no way to make a replica of it.
Everything is glass and steel now.
Yes, it's kind of, we fell in love with the building, and we saw the work that they did in the, how they call it, in the dock, in the middle part of the building. And we're like, well, we need to keep these floors. It's a beautiful floor, or Reno floors. You see the columns. At this point will be a 360-year-old tree to be able to kind of make that column. So we're like, it's special. It feels warm, inviting. That's the type of place that you want. Wood. It was perfect. Yeah. We were able to kind of see the opportunity and see the restaurant looking before we even,
Yeah, shout out to Scopa, our architects.
Those guys, without them,
they did cone
here.
flower, but they also did the design for us. So not only did they do the architecture for it, but they also designed it. And they knew exactly the vision, because timeless was the word we kept saying, because it's like when people walk into Dolomiti, we want them to kind of forget where and when they are, because in Italy, everything's hundreds of years old. Every pizzeria is 100 years old. And so we're in a new place, but in an old space. So we wanted people to come in and just we didn't want to feel brand new in a space that's that old. So we kind of wanted just to dial everything back. And yeah, timeless was the one word we wanted. And Roberto jinxed us, because every time he kept saying, he goes, dude, people just come in here, they don't want to leave. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And then flash forward, there's a table, there was 4 people, they literally got there at 6 and they stayed until 10.
Yeah.
And I was just like, dude, what did you say?
The place wasn't even done. They started to put the tiles, and we have all these beautiful plants, and vendors will go there, or guys that making construction or where they just sit down and just keep talking, and it's oh, that's really cool, oh wow,
no one would leave.
People don't leave. The restaurant doesn't have any paintings or anything on the walls. It's just
We haven't had time to put them on.
and I remember this guy, Brent Crampton, is like, dude, there's a lot of visually to take here. It's like the tiles, the plants, the columns, the oven, the tiles on the floor, like the bricks, like, so it's just like naturally made for something cool. Yeah, the big columns is like, I think I hear it was from the redwoods in California. The place was built in 1800s. Somebody, I think Asaya and Jesus from Archetype Coffee, like, count the lines. It was 300 lines, so that means the tree is like 300-year old. So the tree is like 1500s. So like
Ancient, yeah.
It's super cool space. Yeah,
It's an amazing space.
It's great. And it was already there. Yeah. It's
And
awesome.
then you top it off with that beautiful green oven right in the center there. That's the centerpiece. It looks fantastic. All right, so I believe that Dolomiti first opened like mid-December of 2023. Now, I'm not sure of that exact date because there was no announcement that it was opening.
It's not an announcement.
I've been waiting, like, watching social media for a year, waiting for you guys, and then all of a sudden, here's a picture here. Here's a shared story on Instagram here. And I'm like, what the heck, guys? Like, most restaurants have soft openings, but this was even a step beyond that. This was the softest of soft openings.
That was the goal.
Timing, yeah, but timing
it
was-
was not what happened.
Why such a quiet start? Like, tell me how it got started.
Well, one, we had to open. I mean, we were out of money, and the project had taken way longer than we thought. And we were just like,
We need to open.
we got to
doors.
open. And were we ready? No, that's another thing. You said
We
people
already
don't-
had commitments.
People expect restaurants to have all this stuff ready, like the branding, the design. No, like we were printing menus before I got there, before lunch, when we opened, and there's typos and things that we were editing. Like every morning, I'm printing new menus to get things figured out, and it's just like we had no choice.
We didn't even have like a kitchen full of hands, like workers or anything.
No,
we
we
like
just-
3 guys that work like at 12 hours or 13 hours.
And then
every
we
day.
thought that we could just soft open and then announce stuff as it starts, but then it was holidays and things exploded. And normally what was the benchmark? Like you sell 100 dough, 100 pizzas, like that's a nice benchmark. And we I think the second day we were already over,
I
like
have
literally
to do a
just
double. Yeah.
one to the next, and we're like, okay, well now we don't have time to do anything else
We did an event.
but make pizza.
We did a Christmas event, and it was just 98 pies that it was sold, and that was the first time that we have made so many pizzas. So there's a lot of stories. We will have to probably sit down and do another show, and because I refilled these drinks probably 3 times because it is challenging. It was a lot right from the get-go, and of course, I mean, there's literally no. We need to put some paintings on that I have from España's time that we want to kind of bring in and different cool stuff, but we haven't had the time to do decoration. These guys making 200, rolling balls of dough, 200, a day, and the next day just to be able to keep up with it.
You said you have some great stories. Share a couple from those first couple weeks. This is what the people are here for.
We blacked it out.
I want to share just one recently.
Yes, do it.
We every week are like making more and more people, right? So we were out of dough, but we have like 2-day fermentation. So that allowed us to kind of like have a backup, but not a backup. Jack, he was working similar, like he's awesome. We were like working, and I was running out of dough. Like it was a game on Creighton, and I think like the volleyball game from the new professional, and it wasn't even 6, and we look at each other and like, dude, we're gonna run out of dough. And it's like, and then the other guys just like start to ball in it, and I was like, God, where are we gonna go to, And sure enough, like he got the time to get the new dough, and we kind of stretch it, right? It's like, what? We kind of stretch it, like, and it's like
tough,
taking
right?
forever because it was
really
just
tough.
ball. And I remember I saw this pizzeria one time. Me and Tim were like making fun because they were like rolling in it with the pin roll, and I was like, I think we're just gonna have to pin roll that thing. Man, it was so embarrassing. But Jack is like, let's go, and just start to pin roll all
That's
of it.
that 70% improvising, like you talked about.
Jack.
And I was
crushes,
like, and I was like, like we're gonna have to do it. I mean, there's no. I have a friend that opened a pizzeria in Mexico City. He told me about this kind of problem, but he didn't do the right solution. So he just went out to the dining room and say, "I'm sorry, guys, there is no pizza tonight."
He
I was
just,
like,
yeah, he
what?
just
Yeah,
told him
because
to
he
leave,
couldn't
yeah.
stretch it. So like I was in my mind, no, we're not gonna do that. What are we gonna do? And then I saw the pin roll because that we do the paninos with that. Like, let's go. And yeah, Jack, make it happen for sure. And I remember people still liking the pizza, but they're like, yeah, I noticed it wasn't that puffy at the ends like you guys usually do. Like, oh, you just know what just happened. Yeah. But that's the more recent one that I can share. And I remember Dario used to say, solutions, no problems. And I told that to Jack years ago, and he was like, you know what? Solutions, no problems. And
Bring solutions, no problem.
and then we make it happen that day. One of the busiest days, right? 282 people.
We served that day probably that was a
35 people.
And 35 people. So that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people,
That's
guys.
a lot of
That's a lot of pizza.
Which
They were
pretty thankful
sore.
and I
They're
appreciate
like,
it.
you're physically sore after you do that.
For the
much.
physical and the pressure, the tension, like what is going to happen? Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And I know it's not slowing down because I was talking to you guys off the mics, and you said Saturday was actually a personal best for the restaurant. So, I mean, still crushing it. People aren't
record.
slowing down at all. But have you started to implement some processes that have made things a little bit more manageable, where maybe the volume is still crazy high, but you're like, okay, we're no longer drowning? Still drowning?
No, we're not right now, but
Treading water.
just thinking about Valentine's Day, and then nice weather, patio open, and then College World Series. I don't know.
Yeah, and we will.
Get out the rolling pin.
We are having a
got three
patio,
now.
so that's like our patio. From it, you can see the stadium.
Oh,
and so everyone's just like, "Oh, you're gonna kill it during College World Series," and we're like,
They
"Please
are
don't
gonna
say that."
kill-
We're like stressing.
We're getting-
We're
we're getting
literally
anxiety
losing
already, so
sleep
yeah.
already about it because we have to the only homework we've done is we have to rent a refrigerated truck. Because we don't have storage for enough dough because it's a 2-day ferment. It needs to go slow and low, that's where the flavor develops. And so we're already just we don't even know how we're going to do it. We'll have to figure that one out next. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Solutions, not problems.
Yep.
I don't want to hear about it.
And we're not even open yet, right? There is no.
Well, we officially opened 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
we're we're open.
Man, yeah.
the
the
longest
way.
soft opening ever. Just keep it going, yeah.
But
It's
something that he
friends
helped.
and family night, but all of Omaha is friends and family.
Yeah, always. Yeah, every night. Friends and family. Except Mondays.
The soft-opening part, we had a lot of commitments. Not a lot, but few commitments. That it was really hard to run and be able to execute this event for 100 pizzas, for example, and then open the doors, for customers. That's going to be impossible. We were understaffed completely. So, yeah, it's all those challenges that, the industry has per se that, again, we deal with it. But it makes, the opening, the grand opening, the formal opening take longer than usually would.
Something that I loved about what you guys have done is you've really taken advantage of the relationships in that Millwork common space, and that in the time before you could actually be open, you were doing pop-ups at Cross-Strain, and you were able to test the pizzas and get feedback from people. And now your menu, you have a dessert that features ice cream from cone flour, and your affogato uses espresso from Archetype Coffee. How advantageous is it to be in a space that has these different concepts where you can kind of collaborate and play off each other?
Yeah, it was super humbling because we go in there, cone flour, they got best ice cream in the Midwest or something. Isaiah, who is one of the owners of Archetype, he got 4th best barista in the world. And then, Sweet Magnolias already has this cult following, and then we just kind of show up
3 ding-dongs
relatively
making
new
pizza for the first time.
Yeah, new pizza people, and everyone's just like, who are these guys, And we were like, well, hopefully we'll make a good pizza.
Yeah. No, they are all good neighbors.
Great people.
I have the ideas of ice cream. I'm not gonna do my ice cream. I have the best one probably in the nation. What I'm trying to do here. And yeah, Katie and the guys from Conflowers are awesome. And Archetype, I know those guys for so long. So yeah, just trying to be friendly with the neighbors, right? And it's working out. It's great.
Well, and that's what we were saying. In all the restaurants we've collectively opened, we have never seen a space where, within the first week or two, we had, repeat customers. Because so many people live and work right around there, we would have regulars immediately. Mm-hmm. And, we'd have people come in, they'd dine Sunday night, and then we're closed Monday, and then they would be there for lunch on Tuesday. like so many people, whether we knew them or not, they would just come back. And like a couple of them were these Austrian guys I met, and they were just like, you know, they all ask about the name because they're from the other side of Italy, right there across the border. And like, he literally ate it and he was like, this is so legit. And there's like the best compliment. And these people, they try it and they come back. And to us, I don't think there's a bigger compliment. Like if you eat it and within even 1 week's time, you're back, like to us, that's huge.
Yeah, it's true. Me and Jack have opened a few restaurants, Monarch, like Cottonwood, and other ones. And usually people like, I'm gonna give them like a month so they can get things figured out. And I was like, okay, cool. And this one is like the same week they go there, like, whoa, it's a huge compliment. We're doing something good. And come back to the people, the community around us. Everybody has something to offer. Everybody's really great. Not just business, but persons, and I think that attract a lot of people. Like Jeff Lobowski and all these people that work there and are like always running around. Like, hey, how you doing? Is everything okay? And bringing more people, and it's just really cool to be part of that community with all those cool neighbors. And that is how the collaboration came. Like I was like, yeah, we need to do something special with these people that we have here. So that's how everything start with the collaborations for sure.
Favorite pizza on the menu?
Oh,
it's not on the menu.
not on the menu. We can go off menu too.
It might be on the menu.
Yeah, we have played with a lot of things. I mean,
yeah, we're gonna try to do like a pizza of the week because, like I said, seasonality is huge for us. So we do want our standards, but we do want to rotate as things, growing, local farmers, all that stuff. But by far right now, the Rustica has kind of become the house pizza. It's got the house-made hot honey. We just made our own using locally grown Calabrian chilies. And that one, it's different. I think one guy on Facebook made fun of us for having broccoli on a pizza. And but then you try it and you're like, well,
it works.
It's delicious, so I don't know.
And after that is pepperoni and margarita. I think the ones who follow, right?
Patata is
that's my favorite probably.
Okay, my favorite is patata. I did it one time with a fried egg on top and like prosciutto instead pancetta.
Don't say that. Now
Careful.
they're gonna order.
Now everyone's expecting
It's a
it.
breakfast. It's a breakfast pizza.
Yeah, no, we're not doing that yet.
By the way, the pizza he's talking about, it has potatoes on it. And if you haven't had potatoes on pizza yet, well, maybe give these guys a couple weeks, but then go down to Dolomiti and get the patata.
We already went through. No, you guys can come anytime. But yeah, one compliment about that pizza is this lady went with her mom and said, in 2012 I went to Italy with my mom. We ate this potato pizza. It was great. And then after COVID, we finally have the chance to go again, but I couldn't find a nice pizza. So when I hear you guys have like potato pizza, which for a lot of people is like crazy, right? Like a starch on a starch. It's like, this is probably my second favorite. It's like, okay, I make this girl wait in some years, and she went a couple times to Italy, so it's like, here's this little Mexican making pizzas, and she loves it, All right, cool. I not even went to Italy yet, but that was cool. Yeah, that was awesome.
Not yet.
So as we wind down here, so much of Dolomiti's story so far, from what you guys have said, it's been frustrations, and it's been hard stuff. It's not being able to open when you wanted to open and really having to wait on that. And then when you did open, there were just logistical complications that have made it really tough on you guys. But have you had a chance to sit back and like appreciate what you've done? I mean, you've created a restaurant that when people are coming in like crazy, that means that there's good word of mouth getting out there and you're proud of the product. Have you gotten a chance to just breathe and be like, you know what? There's a lot of hard work ahead, but we have something here. No.
I mean, I did make the joke the other day.
We appreciate it.
Where I was like, I think I would like. We were sitting. I was like, man, I would love to eat at this restaurant. That's why we made it. Like we wanted to provide something that is different. And for us, it's the European style of pizza. Like we joke that we're like a pizza restaurant. We want people to come in, slow down, have some wine. And again, try things that aren't usual because there's so many similar things. Why would you not try something that's different? And yeah, I mean, I would love to chill and hang out, but we've got our work cut out for us. I mean, every day it's just we're putting out 1 million fires just nonstop. From the moment I get his Buenos Dias text in the morning, I'm like, all right, here we go again.
Let's do it again.
And that's in the kitchen
7.
where I was like, here we go again. Like as soon as you hear
7:15 probably, something around there when it's late. Yeah.
Well, you guys have put in a lot of hard work, and you've gone through a lot, but you've created something that's, in my opinion, really, really special. And I can't wait to just see how far it comes and what it evolves in the years to come. Thank you so much for your hard work, and thank you for coming on the podcast tonight.
Thank you.
Thanks
this
for
is
having
their
us.
one day off.
Thank you, everybody.
And they're here.
Yeah, we're firing up the oven. I was like, let's go. But we love pizza, you know. But mostly we also love the community. That's why we do it.
I love food in general, and pizza is awesome. You know, it's something that you can share with everybody. You can bring your friends, and if you notice there is no protein that you can eat just by yourself, everything is shareable. Everything is shareable, so I like that. I like to just bring people together.
It's not a party until there's pizza.
That's how we eat, right? We're just like, oh, let me try that, let me try that. So, but yeah. No,
and that's what we did challenge people, because we do the one size, because we kind of want people to like snack, you know, share, order a pizza, but order other stuff, and then try everything, and kind of do more of a restaurant style for a pizzeria.
But thank you for having us.
Thank you, everyone.
Appreciate
Thank you
for coming up here. Appreciate it.
Bunch of ding dongs.
3 ding dongs.
And I gotta say, in the madness of coming here and whatever, I forget the Caesar dressing. So you guys gotta go to try it at the restaurant now. I'm sorry.
Come get the Caesar salad. You're gonna want it.
My fault.
All right, Omaha. As always, thanks for eating with us.